What was it like to work with Mr. T? I know it was only one episode, but I mean, that character.
Well, there's a good story. Do you know this?
I don't know the story.
Okay, this is a good Mr. T story. I had gone to see Rocky 3 with a girlfriend one afternoon in New York City, and we came out of there. We were just so excited about Mr. T. Like, I had never seen anybody so mean. He was just the best. So we came out of there. I pity the fool. I pity the fool. Shut up, old man. Shut up. And then I went right to Dick Ebersol, who was producing. I never worked with Lorne Michaels, but Dick Ebersol was producing. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go like this because I can't see everybody. The light is really bright, so I'm just going like this. But so Dick Ebersol was the producer of Saturday Night Live at the time, and I went up to him and I said, "You've got to get Mr. T. You've got to get him to host the show." And he said, "Well, Robin, it's these two lights here that are really bright." He said, "Robin, nobody knows who he is, so he doesn't have any TV cue, so we're not going to have him, we won't have him on the show. Maybe when he gets more TV cue or people know who he is." I was always having that problem when I was suggesting people to Dick Ebersol. Another person I went to him and tried to get on the show when I was on was Mel Gibson. That's another person. He said, "Nobody knows who he is."
Oh man, you were a visionary.
But anyway, so Mr. T, nobody knew. That's what he told me. Nobody knows who he is. So then one day Dick comes up to me and he says, "Robin," he said, "your buddy's coming on, Mr. T. He's coming on as not as a guest host, but as just a guest." Special appearance. So can you write something up for him? So I wrote up Mr. and Mrs. T Bloody Mary Mix. And that's where I did the very first impression ever done on television of Mr. T. That's where I was in so anyway, usually we have a read-through on Wednesday where the host and everybody reads the material, and the host gets familiar with, or the guest gets familiar with what they're going to be doing on the show. But Mr. T didn't come in until Thursday, so he didn't. I read the piece and it went well in read-through with me reading it, and maybe Eddie read Mr. T. I can't remember. But anyway, so Mr. T didn't know the material when he arrived on Thursday for a blocking. So the producers, Dick Ebersol and Bob Tischer, come up to me. All producers are kind of weaselly. And these guys, they come up to me. "He's here, Robin, he's here. We want you to tell him what the scene is about. We need for you to read the scene to him." And I'm thinking, this isn't the usual protocol for me to just be reading the scene to Mr. T alone. But that's what happened. They introduced me to him. He was bare-chested in chains. And nobody had ever done an impersonation of him. So they'd given him the script, and I said, "Okay, Mr. T." And they had disappeared. They disappeared behind a pole. They were hiding. They're like this, looking around as I'm saying Mr. T, and I'll be playing you, and I'll be in a ball cap, and I'll have a mohawk or whatever, and I'll be wearing chains, and the scene goes like this, and I start reading, and "Shut up, old man, shut up. You come to my apartment tonight and I'll show you a real man." And he's standing there, he's huge. And I'm doing an impersonation of him, and nobody knew how he was going to react. So I finished reading through it, and then I heard, "You're a funny lady." Then he said now I'm gonna go up to my dressing room and call my mother and tell her I'm gonna be on Saturday Night Live. So that was,
Oh, what a great
so I did the
story.
very first impression of Mr. T, and whenever I hear I pity the fool,
Right?
it was because I had put it in that sketch so many times. I had said, I pity the fool, and made that, it had been in the movie, but because I had repeated it over and over in the sketch, it became his catchphrase.
Yeah, yeah. you did.
So, yeah, you think I see any of that? T-shirts. I was in a store once in Ottawa, and a kid was wearing a I Pity the Fool T-shirt. And I actually went up to him and tried to tell him this story. I couldn't have been more bored. Just trying to grasp at some kind of recognition for him.